You know, I continue to ask myself how it's even remotely possible that Donald Trump is this close to becoming the next president. And then I watch his rallies and look at all of the insane things that this man says, and I'm even more befuddled that this dude could be the next president of the United States. But if you end up getting anything out of this video, please remember to smash that subscribe button. I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. Now, Donald Trump recently held another rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and during that rally, he decided it would be a good idea to talk about Arnold Palmer and Arnold Palmer's junk. I'm not even joking. This guy wants to be the next president of the United States, and he's spending at least 10 minutes of his stump speech talking about another man's dick. Let's go ahead and take a look.
But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. His man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it. We have women that are highly sophisticated here, but they used to look at Arnold and say, man, but he was really something special. Arnold was something special. So,
how is it possible that Trump thought that this was a good idea? I think the more simple answer is that Donald Trump is in a severe state of cognitive decline, and he just talks about whatever pops into his head. Doesn't matter what it is. His crowd obviously eats this stuff up, unbeknownst to me why, but they do. So Donald Trump just goes on these tangents about whatever comes into his mind. He plays these word association games because he's an adult old man. Let's go ahead and move things on to Donald Trump saying that he's talking to Bibi Netanyahu. Why would he be doing that if he is not the sitting president?
and Bibi called me today, and he said, it's incredible what's happened. They said, it's pretty incredible. But he wouldn't listen to Biden, because if he did, they wouldn't be in this position. And she's worse than him. She's not as smart as him.
And then going into degrading Kamala Harris a little bit more, just as we expect. But this should stand out because Donald Trump is not the current president. And if he is talking to Bibi Netanyahu about America's foreign policy, then he is breaking the law. Ex-presidents are not supposed to be conducting official business or even discussing America's foreign policies, especially with foreign leaders of those countries. But this is just another example of Donald Trump thinking the rules don't apply to him, thinking that he is the bee's knees and has the solutions for everything. But he is a danger to this country. He doesn't care about our rules, our laws, our norms. Donald Trump just does what Donald Trump wants to do. It's quite pathetic. Let's go ahead and move things on to Donald Trump talking about how he wants to implement these tariffs from the 1800s and how we were such a wealthy country back then.
You know, in the 1890s and 1880s, our country was actually the richest it ever was. They had to form committees to determine how are we going to spend this vast wealth. We had so much wealth, relatively speaking, so much wealth, more than anybody by far. And they formed up blue ribbon committees. How are we going to spend the money? We don't know how to spend it. Wouldn't that be a nice problem to have? And it was all a tariff country. We were a tariff country. And McKinley was president. William McKinley was actually a great president, was assassinated, by the way. He was assassinated. You know, being president is a very dangerous profession. If you're an auto racer, you know how many people die? About 0.1%. If you're a bull rider, that's dangerous. That's more dangerous than playing in the NFL, right, fellas? What do you think? I think it's a little more, I don't know, it's pretty dangerous. We got a couple of big deals over here and there. But I think that bull riding stuff, that looks bad. 0.1%, about the same as the auto racing. If you're president, Take a look. It's about 5%, 6%. That's a lot better.
So this is just another example of Donald Trump playing his word association games. He said that tariffs were brought on by McKinley, and McKinley was a president, and being a president is dangerous. There's no logical follow-through here. And not to mention, he is just wrong about tariffs. Yet again, this is just another one of Donald Trump's pipe dreams because he thinks that these tariffs are going to magically fix all of the United States' problem. But he is just wrong. McKinley wasn't president when these tariffs were implemented that he is referring to. And not to mention, those tariffs were followed by a depression or a recession, and they raised prices on consumers. It was only good for a few manufacturing industries in the United States. So Donald Trump is just wrong on history. Yet again, he tries to use this as a way to back up his own tariff proposals. But it's not a good idea because they didn't work well then either. Let's go ahead and move on to Donald Trump now referring to the United States as an occupied country. I think this language is intentional. He wants to rile up his base, to feel like we are being taken over by immigrants. This is just more hateful rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that we've come to expect.
The United States is now an occupied country, but November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day. Under Kamala Harris, 13,099 illegal alien convicted murderers are on the loose right now in the United States of America. Can you believe it? Just this week, 2 illegal alien members of the same savage Venezuelan gang were arrested in New York for robbing, shooting, and murdering a 59-year-old man in a Connecticut hotel. One of these illegal alien monsters was a gotaway. Do you know what that is? These are the illegal gotaways. And the other was caught but then released into our country by Kamala Harris and her horrible, horrible, free, open borders.
So aside from Donald Trump's brain glitch when he tried to say illegal, this is just more hateful rhetoric that we've come to expect. He wants his supporters to feel like they are somehow being oppressed or taken over or invaded by undocumented immigrants, when that is not even close to be true. And to refer to the United States as an occupied territory is absolutely insane. This is a way for Donald Trump to dehumanize these people, to otherize them, so when he comes into office, things like mass deportations sound a little bit better to more people. This is absolutely despicable behavior and just bad ideas overall. Let's move on to Donald Trump talking crap about American generals. He likes to play up Putin all day long, but then turns around and talks about our generals like they're the scum of the earth. And this dude wants to be president. I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
1798, can you believe that? We couldn't have an act like that now because now everything's woke, you know? We have woke generals like Milley and Mattis. We have woke people. They don't do things like this. So we had to go back to 1798 when we had real people running our country. The Alien Enemies Act of 70 gives a tremendous power to the president to do what's right, to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. So when they come back, if they come back, when they hear that, they won't come back. And if that's not good enough, we'll make it 20. And I'm also calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
So, Donald Trump has these authoritarian tendencies. He speaks a lot about carrying out these mass deportations, which I think would be an absolute stain on this country. But I think it's a little bit concerning that he has to go searching back, centuries to find these old and obscure laws to try to carry out his authoritarian tendencies. The Aliens Enemy Act of 1798, I believe is what he called it, was a law that was put into place so it could be used during wartime. And the last time I checked, we are not at wartime. So I don't even know the legality behind Donald Trump trying to use such an old law like this. But I think it's just concerning overall that he is scouring our law books to try to find these obscure laws that he can use to somehow rationalize his authoritarian behavior. And when we're talking about authoritarian behavior, he went on to threaten California to overturn their local laws. I mean, what about the states' rights? I thought that was a big thing to Donald Trump.
Like that idiot governor from California, Gavin Newsom. Did you see the other day he signed a bill that you are not even allowed to ask a person whether or not they have voter ID? If you ask them, it's a criminal penalty. If you say, sir, I'd like to see your voter ID, they want to put you in jail for saying that. We're not going to stand. I'm going to get that thing overturned so fast. He just signed the bill.
So now, of course, Donald Trump is lying about the actual bill that was passed in California. The bill only says that local governments cannot pass laws to require voter ID that are contrary to state law. Because I think Huntington Beach tried to supersede state law by trying to require voter ID. So Donald Trump just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, as per usual. The law is not how he states it to be. But the more concerning thing here is that he is threatening to overturn laws in California. That is not how our governments are supposed to function. The President of the United States does not have unilateral authority to just start overturning laws that he doesn't like in states that he doesn't like. This is absolutely insane, and it should be disqualifying. This is just more of the authoritarian behavior that we have come to expect from Donald Trump, and we should call it out. This stuff is not normal. Donald Trump's rallies are not normal. The hateful rhetoric has been turned up to 11. He demonizes people like you wouldn't believe. So if you haven't sat down and watched a Trump rally in a while, I definitely encourage you to do so. Because it is not a pretty picture, and this dude is running to be the next president of the United States. And he should suffer an electoral defeat this November. But I'll leave it there. If you guys got anything out of this video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I said, I'm trying to make it to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. If you want to see Donald Trump's train wreck of an interview at the Economic Club of Chicago, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.